Hey everybody, hope you're well. Today I'm going to speak about dyslexia and dyspraxia, and I have my notes, woohoo, getting all professional. So I'm going to tell you what they have in common, okay, and then I'll tell you my own journey about how I found out I was dyslexic and dyspraxic. Anyway, so the common thing about dyslexia and dyspraxia is that 52% of children and adults who have dyslexia will also have dyspraxia. That's according to the research Capel 1998. Now, dyslexia, people who are dyslexic, they find it difficult to read, write. They have with spelling, and with maths, and also poor organization skill, and with spoken words and language. Okay, dyspraxia, on the other hand, is a development coordination disorder, DCD. This affects fine or gross motor coordination. That's why I can't ride a bike, I can't swim, and I haven't learned how to drive an automatic car after spending thousands of pounds and hours on trying to learn. So the problem is not the actual driving, it's that I can't tell the difference between the car next to me, the gap between, you know, whether it's the road or another car or parked cars. So that's one of the difficulties that I was having when I was learning how to drive. Anyway, now DCD, it is a lifelong condition, and it does affect everyday life, especially, and it also affects social and emotional difficulties. Okay, that's probably why the way I am, and we tend to struggle with management, planning, and organization. That's why my house is in such a mess. I mean, I do get it sorted out. I do tidy everything up. It takes me forever. People who know me know this, and once it's tidied, it will stay like that. But if somebody moves something out of place or puts something out of place, I would be completely thrown off, and it will take me ages to figure out what I need to do. It's either everything will be perfectly positioned in its specific place, or it will be all over the place. That's how it is. Anyway, and it also affects memory, perception, and processing information. So you may say something, I may completely understand it differently. It affects speech, thought, and the ability to perform tasks and movements smoothly. So one problem that I used to have sometimes when I used to take sugar in my tea is while I was making the tea, I would either spill it, or when I'm putting sugar in the tea, I would actually miss the cup. Yeah, I know, crazy. And but the good news is I did some research when I was in uni, because I just wanted to learn about this, and I actually did one of my essays regarding learning difficulties. Now we have the brain structures where we have two hemispheres, okay, which is connected by the corpus callosum. I could have shown you an image, but I don't have one right now. And then we have the cerebellum at the bottom, okay. Now, when people who are dyslexic and dyspraxic or any kind of learning difficulties, okay, especially motor learning difficulties, where that happens when both the cerebellums, okay, both of the hemispheres cannot communicate properly. There is a disturbance between the communication. Now, the good thing about the brain, where we have a cerebellum at the bottom of the brain, that actually can learn motor skills through repetition. So it's not done through memory, it's done through repetition. So if you do something enough times, okay, people who are dyslexic or dyspraxic can still learn how to drive, how to swim and how to ride a bike. It will just take them much longer. Anyway, so now I will tell you about my journey into finding out about being dyslexic, and first time I discovered dyspraxia. It was in 2012 when I just started my bachelor degree at Birkbeck University. It was a psychology degree, and I was struggling. And I kind of knew I kind of knew I may be dyslexic. So I went to the office, disability office, and I told them what was the issue. And they did a little assessment. And then they said, we've got to refer you to an educational psychologist. Now, I'll be honest, I still didn't think I was dyslexic. I thought they're going to turn me away and say, you know what, you're not dyslexic, there's nothing wrong with you. Not that I'm saying being dyslexic, there's something wrong with you, you just learn differently. But at that time, my ignorance, I didn't know a lot about these learning difficulties. I thought they're just going to say, you just need to try harder. Anyway, so they gave me an appointment with an educational psychologist. He was absolutely lovely. His name was Tim something. I went to see him. He did a 2-hour assessment. And then he was shocked. He turned around and said, I'm shocked that nobody's picked this up till now, that nobody picked it up in secondary school or your primary school. And so he gave me the report. I remember when he gave me that diagnosis and I read some of the report, a sense of relief and a sense of sadness both hit me at the same time. A relief that I thought, okay, I'm not stupid, there's nothing wrong with me. Sadness that, God, they could have picked this up earlier and maybe my academic career would have been different. Anyway, so I didn't go home. I went to my friend's house, Fatima, and so I told her, can you Google dyspraxia? And on the way to her house, I start reading on my phone about dyspraxia, and it was funny because it was for the first time things start making sense to me. It was almost like I was reading about myself. My entire life, I felt out of place. I felt odd. I felt different. Anyway, so she started reading, and I remember I was in the bathroom, and she couldn't stop laughing. She said, Farah, oh my God, they're actually speaking about you. And now I understand why you've been so weird our whole life. Actually, tears were coming out of my eyes at that point, but I didn't tell her. I actually just told her this story yesterday, and she was like, I'm so sorry. I said, you've got nothing to be sorry about. It was my own emotional things that I was going through. Anyway, so that was that. And one thing I will say to parents is that if you see your child struggling at school, or he's misbehaving or anything like that, don't just assume that your child is naughty or a badly behaved child. Go onto the internet, research dyslexia, research dyspraxia, and all the other learning difficulties out there, and you will see that you will be able to relate to your child better. And I know my daughter is dyspraxic because these are genetics, but the school refuses to send her to see an educational psychologist because it costs the schools about £700-800 to get your child seen. Anything from £300 to £400, and it can go up to £700-800. So, and they don't have that kind of funding. They're not funded for stuff like that, so they just won't do it anyway. But I've got my daughter into extra tuition to help her with her GCSEs this year, and it is sad. It's sad because there's so many bright children out there that just learn differently than how the educational system teaches. They teach in a linear mode. People with learning difficulties, I don't even want to call it learning difficulties because it's not. We learn differently. We don't learn in a linear mode. We learn in a more, there's a word for it, but I don't know what it's called. it's just all over the place. Okay, everything's all over the place, and we learn in that way. But the thing is, people who have learning difficulty, who have dyslexia, our brains work faster than most people. So sometimes ideas come to me and then it's gone. Before I can even write it down, it's gone, and that's it. So that's what I've done now, is every time something comes to my mind, a thought or whatever, I use Facebook to put my thoughts down. I use a pen. I most of the time carry a pen and a paper, and I don't care about my spelling. I just write it down. I can read my own writing most of the time. Anyway, that's that. I don't think I've got anything else to say about this. Obviously, I can go into it in more details, but I'm trying to keep this as basic and as normal than becoming all technical and clinical about it. I hope it was useful, and if you find the videos useful and you think it's helping me, do subscribe and leave your comments. That would be great. And let me know if you need any more information or anything. I'm a nerd. I am a nerd. Even with all my difficulties, I am a nerd on the inside. So anyway, love you all. Take care. Have a lovely day. Bye.